but I wanted Cory to have plenty of time. So I am at this time going to turn it over to Keith to introduce our speaker for today.
Thank you, Hope, man. Good afternoon to everybody. Kim asked me, Kim set this program up, and she called me last week and asked me if I would introduce Cory, and I felt pretty confident about that, to be honest with you. Probably more confident than I've ever felt as far as introducing anybody. He was born on November 20th, well, that's probably too early, so I won't do that. Cory has been in Thomasville all his life. We've lived here all our life. He attended Thomasville City Schools for 13 years and graduated from a high school in 2006. Went to UNC Wilmington, where I thought he would do 4 years. He loved the beach so much he double majored and cost mom and daddy a little bit more money. But he majored in, he has a BA in history and parks and recreation management. And so he earned that from UNC Wilmington. In 2016, he earned his master's in tourism and sports management from, and I know some of you will balk on this a little bit, from North Carolina State University. And he did that online, and very proud of him for doing that. He paid for that himself, so that was really, really good. UNC School of Government Municipalities Administrative Certificate in 2020. He began his work in Thomasville here at official work in 2011 as an intern with the Parks and Recreation Department. Worked with Billy Freeman there for a little while, and then was promoted to the Community Recreation Center Director after he was officially hired. And then in 2012, went to see the Program Director in 2012, I think, and served in that role until being promoted recently to the Director of Parks and Recreation. He serves on several boards. I'll mention that. He serves on the PACE Board, Communities and Schools Board, the Thomasville Church Homes and Services Board, and also Davidson County Parks and Recreation Commission. So with that, his mom and dad are very proud of him, and we look for good things out of him for this community. And I think he's got a vision that he wants to work on and move our community forward. So with that, Cory, I'll turn it over to you.
All right. Thank you for the introduction, Dad. I appreciate that. And I appreciate the time to get in front of such a great group of people to share some of the exciting things that we have going on. I am going to attempt the screen share and all the technology moves here. So I'll go ahead and share my screen and we can get started with some exciting things I think that the community will see in recreation, hopefully in the near future, as well as the long-term vision of what we can do together as a community. I know that my dad was just referring to a vision that we have, or a vision I have, but I think it's a shared vision in our community that a lot of people are a part of. And so I think that it's important to get in front of a group like Rotary, as well as all the other stakeholders in our community that play such a vital role in community recreation. I hope that you're seeing my screen. If I could get a head nod, that's fantastic. All right, we'll get started then. One thing I want to do is share the sound, because I do have a video, and I'm going to show the video here in a moment about an exciting project, because Jared Dunbar told me that the video will say it better than I ever could say it in the presentation myself. So I will let the video speak for me. It is me speaking, but I was told to don't try to do it any differently. So I put together a little visual for everyone, just so we can kind of talk about what we do. I know that community recreation, and I like to lay that foundation anytime I speak about what we do. Community recreation is a vital part of any community, and it serves a lot of different tenets and a lot of different things. And in Thomasville, we're blessed. I've had an opportunity to become more and more involved in the field at the state level as well, through the Recreation Association and through just professional relationships in our field. And we have a fantastic park system. We have a long history in Thomasville of recreational spaces. A lot of our traditional recreational spaces actually came to fruition prior to a department existing. We had foresight from stakeholders in our community such as the Finches and TFI at the beginning of the really buildup of our community that saw the need for spaces for the community to come and recreate and enjoy. So what we do from the recreational standpoint is we're investing in our community and our residents through our programs. We want to be able to impact our health and wellness initiatives of the city, and I think we've seen that more than ever during this time. I had a conversation the other day about how, you know, when COVID, obviously it's weighing over everyone and it's a cloud above all of society right now, one of the only places in the community that didn't close were our green spaces. So if that doesn't lay a foundation for how essential community recreation is, I don't know what does. I keep the sign behind me. My head right here is actually the signs that we post. We had to post in our parks to close playgrounds and close everything else. So just a reminder of what we can face but how essential our field is. And, you know, we are able to do that through the environmental impact. And then also when you look at tourism and bringing folks into our community, this can be a component of that, but it also can be a component of property values and adjacent properties in our park spaces. So an interesting fact of our park system is it's 84 acres of parkland in our city. I don't know if folks consider that or think about that, but we have 84 acres of recreational spaces, 10 playgrounds throughout our community. Some communities are lucky to have one or two. And Rotary has a big hand in those existing playgrounds that we have today. We also have 17 total park spaces, from pocket parks such as Haas Park downtown, where little green spaces to sit, to our expansive 38-acre Memorial Park. So that's a quick background of the department here. Is you know, we're the 18th oldest recreation department in the state of North Carolina. It was created in 1949. We'll get to the fact that our aquatic center and the blueprints for the pool that exist on site now were created in 1947. So that shows you that our infrastructure, Doak Park, was created in the Rotary Club had a huge hand in Doak Park being created. And I think that was 1938 that it came about. So it's interesting to see the history of Rotary and our partnership with the city and working together to bring these spaces to the community. But coming into this role, I'm very excited. I think we have a lot of opportunities. Our current mission is to create opportunities that foster well-being and leisure for all. We are going to work with our recreation committee and in our community to make sure that fits our tenants and what we want to do, and create a vision as well that we need to make sure we set forward. The one thing that we're trying to implement in staff, with our staff, I kind of took it from the 4 truths of Rotary and thought that four tenets or ethos would be a great thing for us to have. And what is our real main focus? And I think what we talked about with staff and our initial meetings that we held together were that we need to impact people, we need to impact play, we need to impact parks, and we need to impact programs. So it's difficult to say that quickly, but those are the things that we want to make sure we're doing for our community, and we think they're our responsibilities. I like to take it back to 2012. That's really when I started to learn the history of the relationship between the Rotary Department or the Rotary Club and our department and city. But obviously, as I said, you know, the more I got involved, you see the impact of the Rotary Club in the 30s in our park system, in the creation of Doak Park, and what it took to make that happen. And I'm sure looking through these texts can show the strong relationship that we have. But what I have a lot of a direct experience with is the relationship that started with the implementation of the new playgrounds, and how that Children at Play initiative really gave the opportunity to impact our spaces with playgrounds and really be premier sites. And then that morphed into our Party in the Parks, where I got to work alongside of Rotarians, you know, and Christian Brandenberry, Jared, and a lot of different folks who make those community events happen. And it allowed us to really look at ways to impact. And I just wanted to say thank you for that. I think it's been great so far, and I look forward to all the opportunities that we can see in the future. I wanted to hit on some things that I'm sure you've seen. I don't know if you've been out to our park spaces, but some of the things that I'm sure that you've discussed in your board meetings. You know, the Swing Safe initiative is the current mission that the Children at Play funding has gone to impact our park spaces and enhance them. We've been able to get some coverage from Fox 8, which is great to tell about our partnership. But I really think beyond the PR and beyond the positive news, I think these photos illustrate what they do. You see the top left corner of this slide is what our swing areas looked like prior to the implementation of these swing mats. And so what these swing mats do is not only take away the puddles, which is fantastic for maintenance and for aesthetics and the look of our park spaces, make them more inviting, but they make them safer. And so they're impact zones. I know Jared with his YMCA hat from his YMCA days, I'm sure Stan and others know about the impact zones on play areas and how the fall areas are very important for children to be able to play freely, but play safely. So I just wanted to illustrate that and show everyone the impact that those are already making. All those should be installed by our staff before the spring of this year. So that's going to impact 27 swing areas. And it's all these swings in our park system, including the Turner Street Park that the school system operates as well. We made sure to list that because that was part of the initiative for Rotary too. One other thing that we're really excited about, and we never really got to cut a ribbon, we were set to open the Central Recreation Center and to the public on March 13th. And I believe March 16th of 2020. On March 13th, I created the press release to close our facilities due to COVID. But as you see here in the photographs, this is the current look of our Central Recreation Center and the renovations that we were able to complete in March of this past year from the appropriation and the recreational reserve 2-cent set aside that our council had the foresight to put in place. So I wanted to illustrate that and show the impact that it's making to these community spaces. You know, we have a brand new gymnasium in town, and I hope that people understand that it was almost a $600,000 investment, but what it did was it made a premier court. I know earlier Dad spoke about the NC State program that I was in, but I would like to make it noted that the blue lines that you see on this court are the actual Dean Dome blue. So for all the Tar Heel fans out there, those are our pickleball courts, but the folks that line this court for us were actually painted the Dean Dome and NC State and everything in North Carolina, really. So we have a premier facility now. We are playing pickleball in the morning and open gym for walking and individual shooting. We're not doing any organized team activities at the moment from our youth athletics standpoint or adult athletics, honestly, due to the safety concerns. But we are doing some individual sport, and the individual pickleball play is a green lighted sport. This picture was taken before the mask mandate. So if you're looking closely, all participants are now masked, and we are at a limited capacity as well. So we continue to do that. But I just wanted to make sure we highlighted this facility and to understand that, you know, it's been relined now for a full-size basketball, you know, high school regulation. It's HVAC, it's LED lighting, it's premier, and it's here in our town, and we're lucky to have it, and we can't wait to open it completely back up to the community so it can function in the way that we know it can. Right, and so our next component is the aquatic center, and some of you may be aware of the aquatic center, and some of you may not. We are now in the stage, just a brief history on that before I start the video. At the last council retreat last spring at this time, or late winter, we were tasked with seeing and what a design and a conceptual design would look like at our Memorial Park pool, and also what it would cost. So in June, we put out an RFQ to receive qualifications from different architecture companies. We went through the process of interviews with our rec committee and other stakeholders, as well as our council, to determine Clark Patterson Lee as the architect company that we went with. And from August until January, we've put together all the information that you'll see in the video. So now I'm going to share the video, and I hope this works. And if it's not working, let me know the sound is shared. I clicked the three little dots, Hope, so we should be good to go. If not, I'm sure somebody will text me real quick. All right. Welcome everyone to the Thomasville Aquatic Center Conceptual Design presentation. This presentation was originally presented to the City Council on January 19th at the council meeting. It was presented by Bill Moser of CPL, the architecture and engineering company that the City of Thomasville is currently working with for the planning and designing of the Aquatic Center. I'm Cory Tobin, and I'm the Recreation Director for the City of Thomasville, and I'll be narrating this recorded presentation. Here's an overview of the team that's been working on the Aquatic Center conceptual design project. The City of Thomasville placed the RFQ to the public in June of 2020, and from that, we determined that CPL and their team would be the best fit for our community to lead us forward in the design and conceptual design of an aquatic center for the community. As you see, we have representatives from CPL, the architecture company, Benish, which is a civil landscape engineering company, and Aquatics H2O, which is an aquatic design company. We've worked well with the team over the last 4 months to come up with these findings and present these to our community. We wanted to have a thorough process when we went through the conceptual design. Our current pool has been in place at Memorial Park since 1947 and served the community over 73 years. We knew that we wanted to reach out to our public during this process, so our process consisted of identifying the needs and wants of our community with community engagement efforts, then seeing what type of programming we could hold at this facility, along with the conceptual design of what it would look like pool and facility-wise, as well as how the site would need to be adjusted in part of a park planning master plan, and then what the numbers look like for the financial modeling of how we could make this happen potentially for our community. Our community engagement was very successful. The effort went through different routes. We had some in-person and online Zoom sessions that had some interaction with individuals, as well as an online survey process that had over 250 responses. From these surveys and from this engagement, we were able to identify a lot of different feedback from ages, from 19 to 60 years old. And that's the goal of this project, is for it to be something that will serve, toddlers all the way to our elderly and senior citizens. So our community engagement process went very well. Here's just one example of the setup that we had on site at our current Memorial Park pool. These were interactive stickered community engagement efforts where folks could walk up, let us know what type of programming they'd like to see at the pool and the aquatic center, and what they'd like the community to be able to do and utilize at this center and the pool area. This was pretty successful, and we had folks come in and give us some really great data. These are some of the overall trends that we saw from the data, and what came out from what they would want to see in a pool would be, covered shaded areas, concessions available, as well as small event space within the existing or the future aquatic center, and in a place where folks can use that location as something more than just a pool. And this building would hopefully be able to serve our community for a wide variety of things. From the pool, we'd like to see some zero grade entry, and we'll get further into all the pool amenities as they come along within this presentation. But our community engagement, we were very pleased with it, and we always want to hear more from our community and what they would like to see in our recreational programs. This was another output of the design and conceptual design process, and it identified the programming that the facility would function with and what it could serve. Yeah, when we say an aquatic center, we do mean a facility and a building along with the pool area. And because of that, there are a lot of different things listed that we identified we'd need in both of those spaces. Here's an overview of the pool design that was created from the concept, from all the input from our community and with the team and the consultants that we've been working with. This pool design looks vastly different than the current pool that's on site. It'd be an L-shaped pool, which would have 0 grade entry, leading in from 0 feet to 3 feet, a lifeguard peninsula in the center that would separate swim lanes with other features. The great thing about this pool setup is on the left side of the pool, as you see circular components there, those are splash apparatuses and splash elements. Those are things that you see similar to splash pads in other communities. So you would have that as well as 0 grade entry, which makes the pool accessible and ADA compliant. Also easier for our senior citizens to walk in and do some water aerobics and water walking. Then we'd have components such as in-pool basketball goals, water slides, and even rock walls where folks can have fun with different apparatuses at the pool. It would serve all ages and make our pool area safer than it's ever been while being more interactive than it's ever been. Here's an overhead view of the site plan. The new aquatic center and pool would sit roughly where the current pool house and pool sit today. Demolition of those will clear way for the new aquatic center building as well as the pool. An addition that we do need to the site would be more parking and a drop-off area so participants can safely unload and enter the aquatic center or the pool, whichever season they're there and visiting. Another addition to the park space would be implementations of some components on Stadium Drive. An island at the top of Stadium Drive, along with high visibility crosswalks and cutouts of some of the curbside parking, will make the road safer for participants because it should induce a slower speed of traffic. Another addition to the park space would be sidewalk infrastructure to allow folks using the park for other reasons, such as disc golf or the playground, a safe place to walk along the road while trying to get to those units as well. This floor plan is a specific floor plan to the aquatic center. From a macro level, what you see are different colors, and the blue colors are bathroom facilities and bathhouse facilities, as well as the mechanical and pump room components of the pool facility. These bathrooms will serve not only the multi-purpose rooms that you'll see, but also the bathhousing for the pool and the locker rooms that are required there for service. In the green spaces, in the green rooms, you'll see multi-purpose rooms that will be accessible not only from the interior of the aquatic center, but through creative garage doors, we'll be able to access the pool deck for party rentals and birthday parties, as well as in the off-season months, rentals for our community for birthday parties, along with a fitness room or studio rooms for recreational programming. So the one thing about this floor plan that this allows us to have is the ability to serve our community throughout the year and not only during the summer months when our pool would be active. We'll have the opportunity, as I said, to reserve rental room spaces, to create more programming, to hold community meetings, and serve our community in a variety of different ways. One part of this conceptual design planning was the ability to add future expansion to this project, and it was something that we wanted to make sure we had a growth mindset to while we were planning. One area that was identified would be the expansion of this facility with a gymnasium. The gymnasium would be offset from the building at the front, facing Stadium Drive, and access the facility through a former storage room if and when the city decides that they would like to move forward with the need for a new gymnasium. This is a conceptual design sketch from a view from Stadium Drive. One of the things that we want in a recreation facility is access to natural lighting, and these large light-filled entrances as well as light-filled multi-purpose rooms will help brighten our facility, and that's a component that would be very necessary for a fun and inviting environment. One thing on the backside view that you see on the bottom is with these garage-style doors that were mentioned earlier, there'll be shade awnings that will allow shade for the community to access that during the pool usage as well. So we want as many components of this to be featured as possible, as well as designing it again for year-round use to impact our community. The view that you see on the bottom is a view that you would see from Salem Street as you pass by the facility. This is another angle of the conceptual design from the front side of the building on Stadium Drive, as you see at the top, and then from the back side of the facility from the Memorial Park wooded area, you'd see your L-shaped pool along with the bay windows and bay garage doors that would access the pool deck through our multi-purpose rooms, and then all the components and how they would fit in. Because we did want to plan with foresight, this is a potential and conceptual design of what a gym may look like in the future and how it would attach to the existing facility, the existing aquatic center facility, if and when that became possible for our community. The top view again is a view from Stadium Drive, and a bottom view again is a view from Salem Street. In our planning, we did want to have a growth mindset, and with that, what we mean is that we want components to exist within the planning to allow for expansion in the future if needed. One thing that can be applied during construction is a grade beam that will allow for a future pool covering and awning type structure if necessary. Those plans have been put in place to make sure that if and when we need to expand our services, the facility will be able to do that. Here is an overview of the financial modeling that our consultant firm along with our staff have put together for the community. In each major project, there will be different components such as demolition, site work, the pool specifically, building projections, along with value-added items and the contractual fees. Those approximately come out to $4.7 million. Fortunately for the city, we are sitting in a firm position with our recreational reserve that we can be creative with how we fund this project. The City Council had the foresight for the recreational tax that will allow existing funds to cover the first phase of construction and demolition, as well as the contractual fees to begin the project. There will be a request to the local government commission for approximately $3.9 to $4 million. Because of that, we will be able to use the recreational reserve to pay for this funding, as well as continue to maintain a reserve to impact recreation throughout the city. Here is a look at the timeline for the project. It's a 15-month schedule that begins in January of 2021. The target date for completion of the project will be May of 2022. Because of the need for speed in some of these elements in the timeline that we've created, construction can begin as early as this spring, and that would be demolition and site work and grading to pave way for the construction of the aquatic center as well as the pool area beginning in late summer to make sure that we hit our target date of Memorial Day in May 2022. All right, nothing like hearing yourself speak. I appreciate the foresight with that from Jared, but a little awkward for me to listen to myself speak. But I hope that was informative, and that's the big gist of what's going on here with our major projects and how excited we are to be able to move forward with this and have the support from our community and our council on it. I have just a few more slides. I know I'm getting close to your time to end, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention some of these things and what we're facing for that vision that was mentioned earlier. And then to talk about the challenges that we face and what we've identified within our own programming is that, you know, in any park system, in any community, we have deferred maintenance and then things that we can address now and address later. So we're identifying those things and we continually and actively are auditing our park spaces to make sure that we don't get behind on those things, but also see how we can reach out to community partners such as the Rotary Club to identify those items that aren't necessarily within the budget that we have allotted for, but are very, very much value items for us, such as the swing mats. Those are things that we're able to come to fruition because of the support of a community partner. Another thing that we're identifying, such as the pool, would be the age of our facilities. I think it shows the strength of our recreation department and the stance of the park system in our community of how long we've had them. But it's funny, you know, I'm guilty of, there's a bulldog behind me here. I talk about Cushwa Stadium and I talk about the new side, and the new side is older than me. So, you know, it was built in the mid 80s. And so it's not necessarily, it's in our minds, but we go out and view our areas. And, you know, Myers Park was built in 1984. And so it's 36 years old. One of the playgrounds that wasn't on the list for upfitting during the 2012 initiative was the playground featured on this slide. And it was put in place in 1998. So it's 22 years old. I mean, it looks good and it's in good condition. But when you get closer, you start to see the wear and tear on these uses. And so we're identifying that stuff and seeing, you know, one thing that we're trying to do in the challenges we face are just, I refer to it as Amazon Park, but it's Kimbrell Park now. We've got old backstops and infrastructure that we need to take care of as well, and kind of take those eyesores away to make way for the new, and don't just leave that infrastructure up. Another opportunity that we would love to look at, and we've had this conversation with our council and others, is the expansion of our park system. Our southernmost park with a playground is Myers Park. You know, we look at areas in Fairgrove and in pilot areas that don't really have any of our, King Rose close to pilot, but Fairgrove really in our southern portion of town lacks some of the recreational infrastructure for our department. And we're looking for ways. That's why I have our mayor featured here at our mobile park. We've used that as an opportunity to do outreach with our trailers and go to different areas that don't have parks per se, but use those to look at a way to improve our reach to our entire city, entire community. And I put a picture, and I'm sure the mayor could attest to this. This is his neighbor during a really rainy day. That's the Fairgrove Park. So when folks say that we do have a Fairgrove Park, it would probably not be great to put a playground there because of, as you see, on really rainy days, there's a lot of water standing in that park. But, you know, we continue to look for ways to impact our community. And then that's why I just wanted to list the opportunities that we have that we want to reach with our community and do it with our partners and you know, from the allotment that we receive as well each year and staff. You know, we've got ways to enhance our current park equipment and current park spaces. I've got some examples on here of items such as just a small musical element. They make those now for playgrounds. What those do it's really a sensory thing. And it's something that would be great at a Doak Park with ADA compliant playground, the addition of that and the sensory impact that can have on children, and putting something like that into place. An example here in the middle is a playground from Berliner, a company called Berliner out of Germany. And it's all ropes, and that's at the Children's Museum in Greensboro. But there's all types of stuff now coming out in the field of recreation that's innovative and interesting and encouraging the kids to be outside and learn through that play, because that's one way cognitively children develop. And with the growth of electronics and iPads and phones, that physical motor skill cognitive connection can happen through our play areas. You know, I think historically, I have this conversation with our maintenance superintendent all the time that, you know, our recreation department's 50-50. It's 50% our park spaces and how people want to use them, and 50% of our programming. So it's not just outweighed one way or the other. And our other opportunities are just our programming, such as the party in the parks and things like that, to continue reaching our community. But, you know, with that said, that is all that I've had. And I know I took a lot of time, but I was requested to show the video that took a while and had to listen to myself speak. But by all means, if anybody has any questions for me, I would love to be able to answer them if there's time. If not, I appreciate it.
So, yeah, lots of applause out there, Cory. Thank you so much. So if you have questions for Cory, please go ahead and unmute yourselves. Cory, refresh my memory. When did you say that original pool was built?
We have, I've got them here. These are the original blueprints from 1947 from the Thomasville Community Foundation. But the interesting thing about that is there was a lot of good park planning at that space. I mean, at one point, the top corner of the park area was even, designated to be a community garden when you walked through it to get to the pool area and things like that. So, but 1947, so around 73 to 72 years of service for the community.
All right. So Larry, you have a question?
Would the pool be large enough to have swim meets?
It's going to be 5 lanes, and so it should be able to host 25 yard, 5 lanes, and that at a community level pool competition you'll be able to do. So hopefully we'll be able to either have folks come in who have teams or supplement with a team of our own. But we were told 5 is the minimum. 6 is competition style, high school style, but because of the season, it made more sense to do 5 lanes because of the summer season, and the youth athletics and youth swimming meets could still be held there.
Look, I don't have a question, but I did want to mention something real quick. So I want to applaud and thank City Council for backing and getting behind and promoting whatever that aquatics center project. And I'm excited to see what comes from that. I think we should all be very excited about seeing that and what that's going to provide to the community. I'm privy as the chairperson of the Parks and Recreation Committee to see a lot of things that Cory hasn't even mentioned. And so I just want to say that there is a ton of opportunity. And I can't emphasize that enough, a ton of opportunity within this department and how they can provide things to this community from so many different areas that'll be beneficial from a quality life standpoint. And I'm just terribly excited that Cory's in that position and what's to come. And so I think we would all be doing ourselves a favor if we could stay in tune with what's happening in that department and across the city, and how it's going to move this city even forward, even more. So, and Cory, I don't know if there's a way that Rotary can continue to help you guys in particular. And I don't want to commit Rotary to anything at all. But if there is, of course, as always, reach out to us, see if there is something we can do, whether it's financial or with our time or whatever. So thanks.
And Jared, thank you for those comments. And you are a perfect person to, keep us connected to what's going on in Parks and Rec and keep us aware of their needs. So again, Cory, thank you and congratulations. So I think that department's under great leadership, and we look forward to seeing the wonderful things that you that come to fruition under your vision and in that leadership position. So thank you again for presenting.